Hey everyone, my name is Rooster, welcome back to Mechabellum. In today's video, I'm going to be highlighting the Spawn Factory. This is an old strat, which we used to see a lot back when the factory was first introduced. For those of you that weren't playing back then, the factory was actually the first new unit to get added into the game. And well, back in November of 2023, this was the prime comp to play. It's made some comebacks as well. I think I've got like end of season 1 in my head. Yeah, it must be end of season 1 where Factory got buffed a little bit again and then Spawn's Factory made a comeback. But ever since, we haven't seen it so much. But in this particular game, I tried it out and I just wanted to see if it could still work. Game 2 actually is also a Spawn Factory game, but I'm playing into it. So yeah, you've got two nice games here. They're very different. This is going to be a standard game to start us off, and then the second one will be me playing aggro into defensive Spawn Factory, which is not all that common. Anyway, here we are. So I'm going to be up against a 201 player. I think his MMR was like 2150 for those of you that are interested. I am going to be a supply specialist, starting with arc lights and steel balls. I think this is another like fine pack to play if you're not sure if you're going to be defending or playing standard. Sledgehammer, of course, tends to be like the prime pack, good into standard and good defensively. Steel balls also can be fine. They have overall good matchups, no matter what you want to play, and eventually they'll be able to sell into something better. Now, my opponent here is a marksman spec, 5k hit points, and he sells a steel ball round 1 only to, yeah, not buy anything else. Also, I see that, oh, this is not good. I haven't put on the audio setting, so let me just do that real quick, and then let's make sure that we don't see the chat, so no one is distracted. But here we are. So already some shenanigans going on round 1, right? I'm seeing that my opponent didn't use any deployments, and he sold a steel ball. So I'm doing the math where, okay, he started 200, he sold a steel ball, but he had to pay the sell button, so he's 300 in the bank. He gets 400 now, so that makes a total of 700. He can sell the steel ball, or the marksman, that he gets, which is going to be another 200, which makes it 900. So, he can't buy a Titan. I know, yes, you can loan, but that would be insane to go for a Titan that early. You also wouldn't be able to buy the efficient maintenance on either of them, whether you go Abyss or Factory, so I wasn't expecting that from him. But yeah, some shenanigans here could happen, an Overlord, whatever. It turns out it's just going to be Vulcan Marksman, which is a relatively tame comp. Not a very tame line, I would say. I wouldn't recommend trying this. I still think it's better to just get your deployments out. If you want to sell your steel balls later, that's all fine and good. You can try and aim for maybe a round 3 Vulcan if you really want to, but I don't think you should be skipping this many deployments early because you can't recover them, right? Like those 2 deployments that you missed on round 1, they're gone. You could sometimes maybe get like a card like additional deployment slot, but your opponent could pick that too, and then you're still going to be behind 2 potential units for the rest of the game. Anyway, I'm a supply spec, so here I actually get to buy some Phoenixes. I'm going to go double Phoenix. My opponent goes for an underground threat, which is actually going to be making it to my tower. Maybe I should have played around this. I think I might have had the money for it, now that I think about it. Should have had 500. So, yeah, I could have picked that up. I don't know if I picked up an item. I don't think I did, but I probably should have gone for that underground. Just defensively, but it's hard to aim, right? I guess I could have put it in the middle. A little bit of a mistake there from me. We are going to punch through the left side. Steel ball still alive, going to get that tower debuff. It would be nice if I could kill this Vulcan, but it's awfully tanky for a round 2 drop. I do have 3 Phoenixes, but one of them is stuck. The other one's locked on by that level 3 marksman, and while the steel ball's trying to do what it can, I think this is a little bit too much hit points still for my 2 Phoenixes here to take it home. So we are sadly going to lose round number 2, and that's a sizable amount of damage, 450, as the opponent immediately strikes back. So yeah, makes good use there of the round 2 giants to win a round. Round number 3, we get unit drops. Now, of course, I am aiming to go Factory here, which you can sometimes do on round 4, but if you're planning to go Spawn Factory, you usually want a lot of them, which means that on the round you buy it, you want to go efficient maintenance. Because you're never going to be able to buy a lot of factories without efficient. Like, it's too much money wasted to keep them every single turn. So you have to have, if you're not a giant spec, 1,000 for the unlock and the factory, and then another 200, so 1,200 total to get the efficient maintenance right away. So typically it's going to be around 5 that you aim for. And here I'm going to go for the wasps. Opponent goes for the hounds. I guess I could have got a hound as well, especially if I maybe was running like incendiary bomb. That could have been a good pick, but I don't. So I'm just going to go for the wasp here instead. I'll be able to sell it. The spider was worth 100 more, but the wasp here might be able to win me a round or two because it's annoying to deal with. And as you can see, my opponent here is kind of busy trying to recover deployments, which, to be fair, he did get, right? 4 hounds is definitely catching up to what I have. But he won't be able to deal with these wasps for now. So I can keep them around, hopefully get a response from him, a Mustang, something like that, slow down his comp that he wants to build, and then eventually we sell it and we use the money to get into a factory. Now let's see, Vulcan shows up on the other side as well, Marksman, and yeah, the hounds are fleshing out the board pretty nicely. I decided to go for Arclight range. This is going to be quite important if you want to go factory. You're at least going to need some Arclights with range. So round 3 is always a nice round to get range if you want to, or if you can in standard scenarios like this. And then you might want to aim for about 5 of them before you get the factory online. You can see here right side doing real well. Wasps are distracting that high level marksman. Left side struggling a little bit, but we should be able to grab a debuff. And well, with that debuff, that Vulcan should fall. Marksman is going to get attacked, will go down. Phoenixes, both of them still alive. A couple wasps too. And we do manage to bring home round number 3. Round number 4. Efficient tech research here shows up. Rhino Assault 2, but I should be pretty safe against it. And I think efficient tech is really nice. Even though I already clicked Arclight range, I'm gonna want a lot of techs on the factory, right? I want sledge spawn, steel ball spawn, phoenix spawn, efficient maintenance, maybe range. I want to go techs on the spawned units so that I benefit from that when they get spawned by the factory. So range on the phoenixes, EMP on the phoenixes, mech div on the steel balls, mech rage or armor or whatever you may have on the sledges. Well, you get the point, right? A lot of techs. So a nice pickup here. And yeah, the other ones, nuke, no real need to go for that right now. You will get it back, I guess, on round 9, but we're both pretty healthy, so doesn't seem like a good pickup. And yeah, I am going to go for an in-between round, so I'm going to decide to go for Stormcallers, double Stormcaller with AP. This got buffed recently. Increases attack by 100%, and you only lose 15% attack interval, so still a really nice DPS bonus for only 100, and this does so well into bigger units, right? Whether it's sabers, spiders, but especially the giants, things like Vulcans, which are big and slow, so easy to hit. It's a really nice thing to buy. Even if you just have 2 Stormcallers, it's gonna somewhat force a response from your opponent, and more often than not, you will just get a lot of value and your opponent doesn't do much about it. So this is a nice in-between because, again, I'm gonna need a lot of money to be able to afford the factory plus efficient maintenance, and I think round 5 should be the round where I'll be able to get that. Mustangs will get purchased, so sadly my wasps will go down, but they distracted a decent amount. Phoenixes will fall, but luckily for me, I did add some more DPS to the board, and it looks like we should be able to win the round. Not a massive win, but that's fine. This was somewhat of a setup round, right? An in-betweener, as we try to set up for the first factory. And now let's have a look. Round 5, what's it going to bring? Is it going to be unit drops? It will be. So, not exactly what I wanted, because I want to sell my wasp. So, ideally I would have waited another turn. But there are some okay things in here, right? Scorpion, Farseer are both pretty nice. Farseer is, I guess, good to keep on the board. Just some additional kind of DPS, chaff clear, whatever you may have. And also sells for 300. So I'm going to just pick that up. It's a unit that I can't unlock if I want to. So it's nice to just have the unlock available if need be. And then we are going to sell the Wasp because, well, Farseer got offered. My opponent went for it as well. Sold one. That Wasp wasn't doing well into level 1 untech Mustang. So let alone against level 2 Mustang and a Farseer. And this does mean that we have enough money, right? So I'm going to be able to buy a War Factory here with the efficient maintenance. And I still have 550 left. So I'm sitting there like, okay, well, I guess I can just buy another tech. Now, I'm not too sure what tech I should be picking here. I really am not. I think in the past, we used to do Phoenix production a lot earlier. But it did get nerfed repeatedly. So this used to spawn way more often. And back when this was first released, there was no production cap. So the production caps that you see now, they got introduced because of how incredibly OP this strat was when it got first discovered. So yeah, this is a lot worse than it was. And I'm going to go for steel ball production here instead. The good thing about steel ball production is that the steel balls are a lot faster than the War Factory. And so they tend to just create a nice barrier, right? Of units that really get well in front so that the factory is nowhere near the scary enemy units that might be able to kill it, right? Whether that's a Melter or a Scorpion or Ignite Vulcan, which I didn't see until now that my opponent did have that on the bar. It's not that common. I am running it myself too, but not something you see every day. That used to be one of the prime ways that we tried to counter this strat. It's tricky, but Vulcan is pretty good into like the mid-sized stuff that you can spawn. So like Scorch is amazing against sledgehammers, against steel balls. And then Ignite kind of just allows you to deal good DPS against the War Factory if you happen to lock onto it. With range though, that can get tricky. And of course I am running EMP now on my Phoenixes, which is the way that you used to counter this. You would go spawn Phoenixes, range EMP, and then you would just turn off the text on the Vulcan, and suddenly nothing works. Round number 6, we did a big chunk of damage there, by the way. And yeah, well, that's the thing with Titans. If they survive, then suddenly you do start to dish out a bunch of damage. Round 6, though, we get Lightning Storm from the opponent. And I mean, EMP here looks fine. I'm just going to pick that up instead. I didn't want to go for the expensive Lightning Storm. Yes, there is some chaff to hit, but I didn't want to invest into that. I want to invest as much as possible into my board of factories. And so here we go. But opponent goes for Loose Formation Crawler, gets the Ignite Vulcans, and has the Storm this turn. I do believe that this is going to be a pretty big power spike as I sell out of one of my Farseer. So we've got another one to sell. It does fine, but I'd rather retrieve the money, right? At some point, these guys should just be able to fend for themselves. And with the sheer amount of units that you can spawn, at some point, it just becomes overwhelming. And we even have enough money here to buy a second factory and also grab a third tech, right? A second spawn tech, which I go Sledgehammer production here. I'm not sure if that was the correct play. I think I should have definitely had Phoenix production in one of my first 2 production techs, but we're going to see how this shapes up. I think I just didn't have the money to go Phoenix production because it is way more expensive than Sledgehammers. But I think I should have tried some way, somehow, to get Phoenix production on there as the second tech that actually does something, right? So we are going to get stormed. Honestly, not the worst. I did put down a shield there. We saved our Stormcallers. Arclight's still alive. Farseer helping out too, but you can see right side, we are struggling quite a bit to be able to get rid of all of these Loose Formation Crawlers. And you can see here that Vulcan, applying the Ignite constantly, just does not care whatsoever about that factory. Now, keep in mind, Ignite is not an effect that gets counted by the game. So it did 67k damage, 70k damage now this turn. That's without the Ignite effect. It's the same with the Ionize on the Raidens. Also doesn't get counted as damage dealt by the unit that applied it. Round number 7, more spells. Again, Orbital Bombardment now shows up. I will pick this one because it's very cheap. And it's still worth it, right? If I can hit some of the loose formation packs here, it should help me with my chaff clear problem. I don't really want to invest into something that deals with the loose formation, because the only real way to do so would be Mustang at this point. And I don't know, I don't want to go Mustang with all these spells being offered. I don't want to like spend a turn doing that. I feel like I can just overwhelm the board at some point and kind of just brute force my way through the crawlers. There isn't that many of them. I mean, okay, now there are more being added, but they're all the way in the front line, so it's really just these late 5 packs that are somewhat annoying. But for now, I want to prioritize just the spawn techs if I can. I am going to go range and EMP this turn, so we are really making good use here of that efficient tech research. And this is what I was talking about. Now, Phoenix production is still a little bit too expensive, even after selling our Farseer, so we're gonna have to wait with that. But at the very least, I get the double techs now. And we already got our unit drop on round 5, but round 8, 9, 10, we're gonna get another one. If I get it next turn, I can sell, and then maybe get another factory, and then also get that Phoenix production. And then from there on out, we're kind of set. Maybe I would like to get the range enhancement too. As opponent, I have to say, is playing this real well. We're going to go for a Sledgehammer, and we are going to grab another tech, Mech Rage. Idea being Mech Rage gives speed as well, so the Sledgehammers can get out in front of the factory, create some distance, make sure you don't get locked by the scary stuff. And then on top of that, they will also help out a little bit with the chaff clear, which couldn't hurt. I go for an oil play, trying to burn some of the stuff here on the left. Opponent actually does pick up the acid that was offered instead of that orbital. Orbital, though, did fine. We killed most of the small stuff, so we should be able to kind of power through on the right. Left side struggling a whole bunch. Factory already down. I have some Phoenixes left, but doesn't look too good. Hopefully we can kill some of these shields. If I can break through on the right side, I wouldn't be too sad about it. Opponent is loaning, and as I said, he's playing this real well. Going Ignite Vulcan was a classic counter. Going for that Stormcaller with EMP play is a classic as well. I am not running Interception currently on my factories ever since Mustang Interception got better, but that was a classic counter because it's relatively cheap to just go double Stormcaller EMP, and it forces some kind of response from your opponent, whether it's range on the factory or interception if they run it. And that just makes all of their other things they want to do more expensive, because when you start to stack 4, 5, 6 techs on your factory, you're paying a big bounty. Sadly, we don't grab the shields here, so opponents will strike yet again, and now we're down to 2k. Another spell shows up, a second Lightning Storm. I mean, this is a bit of a Mechabellum type of game, I do have to say. Like, look at that. Acid Blast, Lightning Storm, Orbital. Okay, this time around, I will pick the Storm myself. Hey, look. End game, we have to just play around these things, right? We've got more money, and I have to be a bit careful. I can't be too greedy, because it doesn't take much to lose when giants are involved. And now we're going to sell our left side factory, because I don't want to run through that acid. Like, that doesn't sound good. And so we're going to go for 2 more factories instead on the right side, kind of trying to stack. And this is something that you can always do with factories. Just sell one and then try to overwhelm one side of the board, and then you can always buy back factories the turn after. But this can be really hard to deal with, because if you don't expect it, the amount of just units and sheer like stats that is coming at you on this one side of the board, like, oh boy, it's a lot. Sadly, again though, we don't quite have the money to go for Phoenix production, so this is going to get delayed yet again. But at the very least, I mean, I was getting stormed, so like, yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world. Also, opponent doesn't have any air units that I have to be wary of. It's all ground-based, so losing the Phoenixes here, while it kind of sucks, like I would like to disable those Vulcans, it's not the end of the world, and I feel like the Steel Balls here can still do quite a good job. Let's see. Storm also, again, going to help me quite a bit, getting rid of those pesky crawlers, and allows me to get away with somewhat of a subpar chaff clearing board, right? Opponent definitely in a way better spot regarding those Vulcans that he has. Left side Vulcan, by the way, already level 3. Like, oh boy. We did level left side tower to level 3 because I didn't want to lose this too quick, and I did think he would run in pretty fast. And these war factories are not EMP'd, they're just slowed down because they got hit by the storm. And let's see, Stormcallers here, by the way, I mean, they're dealing big chunks of damage to this level 3 Vulcan, I have to say. Left side Vulcan is walking in. It is getting ignited, so I feel like it will go down. But, yeah, Ignite doesn't work on tower, so this Vulcan is going to be nice and stuck, trying to get rid of that. Now, the Marksman is starting to chip in, but hopefully, we can get rid of many units here as possible. Not quite what's going to happen, but only 5 seconds of debuff. Vulcan now will start locking onto the factory, but it's too little too late. It will fall. And then as the other Vulcan dies inside of his own acid, we should be able to close out this round. Will another factory fall? I feel like it shouldn't. Won't. And is that enough to close things out? Doesn't quite look like it will be. 604 hit points remaining, but a nice round. Kind of stacking everything on one side. Round number 9. Unit drops show up. I'm just going to go for the cell at this point. Factory with spawn is a self-sufficient comp. It deals with everything. You've got small stuff. You've got like your own chaff production. You've got your chaff clear, your area anti-air, like anything you could want, really. Now, opponent gets a nice drop too with the Scorpions, which is another classic counter to this comp. So I have to say my opponent is playing real well so far. Like I don't think there's anything wrong specifically with this comp. But of course, I do run the correct text on my Phoenixes so that EMP could spell trouble. But yeah, triple Scorp, range or siege mode, and acid, that could spell trouble. We do have a ton of money though after that sandworm sell, so an additional 600 there. And that's going to allow us to get into the Phoenix production. It's going to allow us to buy 2 more factories, and so now we're up to a grand total of 5, which is probably reaching critical mass at this stage. I think I should be spacing these a bit better, because if I want to add more, I think I can fit one here, but this should be on the line or on the right, kind of like here, so I could fit another one if need be. I don't know how long this game should go, though. I kind of want to close it out as fast as I can. But let's see. EMP back off cooldown. We're going to try and just hit some shields. Should allow us to get in a bit more easily. And now opponent is doing the correct thing as well by adding more loose formation crawlers. He didn't add any of the Scorpions though on the left side, so he might be able to just overwhelm on that side of the board. The one thing I don't have yet, I think, is loose or mech div rather on my steel balls. So that's a thing to potentially look out for. Range on the factories also could be very nice, but it's incredibly expensive. 1,050 for that 5th tech. Right side is struggling. Acid certainly doing a good job. I think in the middle it locked instantly to an arc light, so it lost part of my chaff clear, but at least we have an absolute army of Phoenixes left. So as the factories are dwindling, the last one should go down at any point. We've just got this, yeah, this armada of Phoenixes just cleaning up the board. I don't think I win here, but at the very least I prevent myself from taking massive amounts of damage, so not too unhappy about that. We won't quite get the debuff. Instead it'll be the Scorpions to clean the house, and we will send this to around 10. So I got a nice drop to sell, and I'm getting up to basically my like end game with the factories. Almost all the techs that I can click that would do something have been clicked. But yeah, opponent does get access to those Scorpions. Round number 10, Ion Beam, have to pick it. It's way too good for its cost, and so, well, against a board like this with Scorpions, Storms, I mean, there's even Interceptors that I can take down. I'm just going to angle it right over there and hope that to take some of them out. Opponent will do the same thing. This is not the most useful. I mean, you might kill some spawned units, but I mean, we spawn them constantly. Maybe you take out some Phoenixes. Maybe you might damage a factory, but I think the Ion Blast here is better for me. There are more units on his board that could potentially die to them if they just get hit by the full length of the Ion Blast. And so now I'm thinking, okay, I've got 1,300 left. Do I want Mech Div on the steel balls? Do I want range enhancement on the factories. I'm not too sure. I did want to get some deployments down because, well, I knew that this Siege Mode Scorpion was insta-locking the arc lights. I wanted to protect it. And after using my deployments, I thought, well, I don't have enough money, even with the loan. So let's just go for steel balls here with Mech Div. It should give me a decent amount of value. We do sell out of it immediately. And that should allow us to get a level. I'm also getting some interceptors here to try and stop these packs of Stormcallers from EMPing me. And then I first level this factory on the right, but I quickly undo and go to the left. And the reason being, there are 3 Scorpions on this side, and I was expecting him to beam here. So instead I wanted to try and kind of create a strong factory on the left, where there might be less of a chance of, well, a whole bunch of acid shots, right, hitting the factory, which opponent does add 1. Ion Beam here, not too bad. It does hit a couple of Scorpions, takes out one of them, I believe. But still, I mean, I got rid of some Stormcallers, some chaff. We're just kind of powering through at this stage. Steel balls are getting in as the Vulcans are getting EMP'd and are getting taken out. Those Mech Div steel balls are such a pain, right, for all of these units to deal with. The Marksman, they might one-shot the steel balls, but suddenly there's 5 crawlers coming out. The Siege Mode Scorpion's not quite able to lock on, getting EMP'd, and yeah, all of a sudden, I mean, there's just an absolute horde of mechs coming towards my opponent, and we will be able to close things out on round number 10. So here we go. Spawn Factory still can work in some scenarios. What should my opponent have done? I think he played it pretty well, to be honest. Now, Ignite Vulcan is an old response. Definitely works a lot better with the extended range Vulcan variant. This was something that we did back when we had no other options. Scorpion only got added later. Raidens only got added later. Raidens can be quite nice, especially with the EMP. Abyss wasn't there. And Abyss honestly does pretty well into this type of stuff. I do think I like the Scorpion response, but yeah. I don't know, EMP on Marksman can work too, but at some point this just gets out of control. So we had to like somehow find a way to win a bit earlier. But yeah, I mean, sometimes, look, this comp just like gets online and you don't have a good early game, so you can't pressure enough and you get overwhelmed. Anyway, let's send this to the second game where I am playing into someone who is going for this comp themselves. All right, here we are, game number 2, where I will be playing aggressive. So having a look at the packs, we've got Marksman spec, which seems quite playable. Spiders, very, very good scaling. And, well, you can build them from the start, so that's always nice. And speed spec steel ball looks good as well for any aggro opener. Opponent is going to go for the supply spec, Arclight Sledge opener. One of the better defensive packs for sure. And having that additional kind of econ boost throughout the game is always nice. Now, I'm going to be setting up here kind of in an aggressive manner on the left side. Been trying out some setups where I can buy some Void Eyes and like play the Wraith if you've seen my previous videos. Whether I'm going to be able to go for that this game, we'll have to see. And I mean, here I do need some form of chaff here, so I probably would just buy some Arc Lights. I think I prefer those quite a bit over Hounds these days. Hounds got one-shot crawlers, so that can get you into trouble if you're trying to get to the enemy towers as quick as possible. And also, Arclights have pretty nice DPS. Like, they're decently tanky early on. They've got good DPS against even things like sledges. It always like helps out in the first couple rounds. Opponent gonna go for double Fang here instead of the crawlers, which is fine. Especially if you're expecting some aggro, which does seem to be the case. He goes for the vertical sledgehammers on the insides. And you can already see there are some very suspicious gaps here between the units. Which I did not catch on to, by the way, at all in the early game. I had no idea what was coming. We will get to the left tower, get that debuff, always nice on round 1, and we should be able to close it out here, I believe. Would be kind of tragic if we didn't. Arclight going down, only one sledgehammer pack left, and should be able to clean things up here, although it is getting awfully close, but yeah, one steel ball will still be alive, and so a marginal win, but we do manage to grab ourselves a lot of experience. Round number 2. Now, I wanted to kind of play some Wraith, like Void Eye type of stuff in this game, but with Marksman and Phoenix being offered, I really didn't feel this one. That felt a little bit sketchy, so I'm thinking, alright, I probably have to just pick safe here and go for the Blue Tarantula, which is a very nice drop as well. The only thing is, I probably do need to care about anti-air here, because both Phoenix and Marksman seem like good options for my opponent. I don't know which one he's going to pick, but I don't want to lose here because I crush the ground and then I just end up losing because of a lack of anti-air. So with buying the Tarantula, I only have 300 left, which means that I probably will just have to go for a Crawler and then maybe one Marksman. You will see me unlock Fang, but, well, I was thinking about the options of what my opponent could go for. I could try and just buy one late Fang and hope that that does the trick, but I really didn't want to lose any tempo here, so I'm going to be ending up undoing this and then buying a Marksman. I'm also pushing into the right side tower. Formation from the opponent, by the way, very, very curious. I probably should have, like, some alarm bells should have started going off here, looking at these empty shapes on the enemy board and the way that he's been setting up. But yeah, just gonna go for this, like, cross formation with the Fangs on the left. And I'm expecting him to double down, right, on the left side, because that's where my strong side is. So attacking his weak side with the unit drop here makes a lot of sense. And then with the level 2 Tarantula, it's really good against Fangs, Hounds, Sledgehammers. I probably want to just, like, keep investing into that and move to the left side of the board eventually. We are going to be held back. So, yeah, left side has been dealt with. Spider doing what it can. Arc Lights trying to get through the Fangs, but it won't quite be able to get rid of everything. So it's all down to the Spider by this point. Marksman shooting at Fangs, really not what it likes to do. And Spider does real well, clearing everything but that red Marksman. So immediately here, my opponent striking back. Round number 3. Quick cooldown. I mean, I have no spells right now, so that doesn't make sense. Advanced Missile Spec, hard to use. Deployment Module could be okay for aggro. Could go for some flank plays. And the EMP, again, nice spell, short cooldown. I wouldn't hate it if anyone wanted to pick it here, but I think I want to go for some tempo instead. It's round 3 as well, so apologies. It's round 3 as well, so I might want to go for range on the Tarantulas, especially with this one being level 2, I think. Kind of leaning onto that makes a lot of sense. That is what we're going to do. We're just going to skip, sell a Steel Ball since it's not having a good time into the Fangs and the Sledgehammers. And we're just going to create basically a full transition here into the Spiders. Eventually, I probably want to sell my Arc Lights as well as they get replaced by Spiders. But we're going to put one here on the shallow flank, which, as you can see, does pull a fair amount of the enemy chaff. That's always nice. And now, opponent, I think, might have saved a little bit of money, as he only went for a Marksman and some more chaff. But this does look a lot better. Tower will be going down. Shallow flank Spider there. Fantastic performance so far. We'll only lose one Spider. And this one almost levels. But that's a nice round. Some good tempo. Round number 4. Ooh, okay. Well, Super Supply Enhancement shows up. That is a hard to skip card. And when you're on 4,700 hit points, I don't think there's a reason not to pick it. Opponent goes for it too. And so here we start to scale. Because of the card, though, it is harder for my opponent to go for Factory. In fact, it's impossible. So, not quite going to show up yet. Again, I had no idea that this was coming. I just thought the formation was a little bit odd. Definitely not something that I've seen before. But it'll all start to make sense once his composition kind of, yeah, starts being built around the core unit. More Spiders. This is a great way to play aggro, I think. If your opponent doesn't have like a big air army, then there's no reason to really respect it that much. And Spiders can just dominate the ground, especially into these like boards of smaller units. Even into low-level sledges, they do quite well. The level 2 sledge here, a little bit too tanky maybe, but yeah, left side just completely crushing. And that's looking awfully nice. If we can get a debuff, we can maybe save this spider as well. This one in the middle will go down, and level 3 marksman will take one as well. But that looks like, yep, 3 spiders going to live, so even more damage going down to my opponent, and that will send him down to below 3k hit points as we enter round number 5. Here are the unit drops. And I mean, I don't need Fire Badger or Typhoon. I feel like I have Chaff Clear covered. Stormcaller could be a fine pick, but I felt like Raiden here was a fine pairing against the enemy Sledgehammers, which were a little bit tough to kill, so that's why I'm going to put this level 2 Raiden in front of the level 2 Sledgehammers. And opponent is just going to go for Stormcaller, and yep, there it is. War Factory round 5, just like we did in our previous game, with that efficient maintenance, and he goes Sledgehammer production first. On defense, this makes a lot of sense. Sledgehammers produce the fastest out of the production techs that are available, and they're decently tanky too. So this can just be a really nice way to kind of clog the board and stop the opponent from getting your towers easily. And on top of that, the factory itself is basically impossible to kill for just spiders, right? So if your opponent is really spamming this, I don't mind this type of comp at all. Now, I do run ionization on my Raidens, and we already have the range now, so yeah, the middle getting completely crushed. But you can see what happens. This late chaff formation from the opponent, because my spiders have range, they lock onto the factory, which they can't take out, and then suddenly there's just chaff problems all over the board. Right side, luckily, no chaff problems like that. And Raiden will take down the marksman, so no anti-air left apart from this one Fang pack. And I think we should be able to kill this. It'll be kind of slow, only the Raidens are left alive, and I will lose my tower. But I think the Raiden should be able to get there. Now we just have to wait, right? More Sledgehammers being spawned, the Raidens trying to do what they can. One Raiden actually will go down to the enemy War Factory. And the other tower will fall as well because of the Hounds taking it. But yeah, a pack of Fangs is not going to be enough to take down this level 2 Air Giant. So we will win, but it's not a massive win. And things are still looking a little bit scary because, well, I'm expecting more War Factories to show up. And if I lose 1 or 2 rounds with the factories living, I'm going to take so much damage. Round number 6, there was a nuke there. I don't want to go for it because it won't kill the factories and it's just like expensive. And I felt like I needed to get as much resources here kind of pumped into my army as I could because I need ionization, I need more Raidens. I need to cover basically the whole board. And yeah, here we go. Opponent buying another factory will sell out of that second Stormcaller they had and go for a second tech as well with the steel ball production. I might want to go high explosive ammo here. I do have a fair bit of money, I have to say. So enough to go ionization, a third Raiden, some more chaff. And EMP would be nice as well, just to kind of turn off the factory techs and, well, eventually turn off the steel ball production mech div if that's what he wants to go for. I'm going to go for the levels here on the Raiden as well. The reason for that is because ionization does lower your attack by a whopping 70%, so having low-level Raidens might just struggle to take down the enemy sledges. In fact, 5k damage is not even enough to kill these level 2 sledges with a level 3 Raiden at this point. The damage, though, not too bad. Left side gets through relatively easily, and we should be able to grab a debuff. Right side struggling. Doesn't look like we were able to quite hit the units we needed and the chaff here efficiently, but we'll take down the big marksman. Only a level 1 left. I don't think we should be losing here. Although steel balls are going to go to tower and grab that debuff. Missile sadly does get triggered. And now it's just going to be up to these Raidens to do what they can. Now ionization does not care at all about debuff. It will just do the same amount of damage no matter whether your Raidens are debuffed or not, so that's always nice. We will eventually take down that level 1 factory, and the marksman will fall too. We keep a missile as well, so all is well. And finally, a decently sizable chunk of HP going to get taken away from our opponent. Round number 7, photon emission here shows up. That doesn't actually protect against ionization, so opponents can't pick it. It does protect against EMP, which would be my next pick. And so here I'm just going to try and go for Raidens with ionization to kill these guys. Opponents will go for the steel ball play with the mech div. I think I will pick the EMP though on my Raidens. It is round number 7, so alone seems like it's a good thing to go for, and that will indeed allow us to go for that third tech. So now we can EMP the steel balls, and as they die, they won't be spawning the crawlers. And then we can also EMP the factory from spawning more stuff, which might allow the Raidens to kind of get easier locks. Opponent, though, gets a third factory. At this point, so much chaff on the board. We do have the second tech on the tarantulas as well. I mean, with this much chaff, you just need the high explosive. The only question is, can we kill these dudes fast enough? Immediate lock on there on the right side. Absolutely lovely. The one downside, though, to ionization is it works great at chunking the enemy titans. It's not so good, though, at finishing them off, because it deals 30%, I think, 40% current HP damage. So as they get lower and lower, you keep dealing less and less to the factories. And, well, as I showed you, the Raidens have very, very little attack because of this tech nerfing it. And so, despite getting some good locks, it takes an eternity this round to get rid of the enemy factories. And, well, while I was talking about these chunks of damage that we might take, yeah, this is one of them, right? 2 factories alive, and suddenly we're down to 3k hit points, while we were sitting at 4.7 before. Round number 8, we get a bunch of spells. I take the orbital, but there is an electromagnetic blast in play, and so for some reason here, I just completely, like, forget about this existing, which is a horror, because I have no great way of dealing with it. So I'm just kind of screwed here with my units are gonna lose their techs. And I should have realized here that I don't have the damage, right? So that's what I need to fix. I need to somehow find a way to deal good damage to finish off these factories, because I get some decent lock-ons with the Raidens, but they just don't have the damage to deal like that little bit of like the final stretch, right? To get rid of these titans. And so what I go for here is gonna be wasps with the energy shield. I'm trying to create uptime for my Raidens and preventing these marksmen with AA from locking on. But is it gonna be enough? I mean, I have the orbital at least to clear the chaff and the small units on the left, but I'm gonna lose 3 of my Raidens here, effectively. Like, that's 3 techs gone. No EMP, which means that the steel balls are spawning those crawlers upon death. It also means I have no range, so I'm getting close to those scary marksmen. Are we going to be able to punch through on the left? Okay, this Raiden here still has its techs, but the other ones are going to recover very, very slowly. And probably just get overrun by the looks of it. Like, opponent does have a bunch of fangs too, so it doesn't seem like the wasps here work at all. And oh boy, okay, right side not looking good. This Raiden is locked on that factory, and the other one too, but we get debuffed. Can I take these guys? I mean, they're so low on hit points. I mean, you would hope that they do go down, but no such thing. Marksman gonna take down my Raidens, 3k hit points, and oh no. Oh god, okay, well, round 8, and we're just dead. We're just dead. I thought I would live here, but yeah, the spell and just probably just a bad move for me, to be honest. Not really playing around the spell as best as I could, and just not identifying that I had a massive lack of DPS problem. I kind of want to try something here, because another unit that is very good into Spawn Factory, way better probably than Raiden, that got added recently, is the Abyss. So I want to try the last round. Let's pretend that I do know Electromagnetic Blast is getting taken. I think I would still pick the Orbital here, because I know that he's going to shield. And then, what on earth do I want to do? I probably want to just, like... I could try and, like, orbital one of the sides and then attack the other one with a Raiden. Maybe that's not a bad idea. My right side is kind of weak, though, I have to say. So we do this. Sell this Raiden so you have as much money as possible. We definitely want a loan. Go temp range, temp speed. And then I want to go for some Abysses. Now, the question is, do I need a level 1 Abyss or a level 2 Abyss? I could go 2 Abysses here on the right side, perhaps. I think level 1 should, in theory, be enough. I am gambling a bit by doing this, but I guess we're just gonna say, what if I gamble correctly, right? I mean, it is kind of logical that we would try to hit my big Raidens with the EMP, so putting stuff here on the left, I think, is a fine move to do. Like, I'm not, like, trying to abuse the replay feature too much. Probably should go for an oil as well at this point, since I just need to stall, right, as much as possible for these guys to get in. And the nice thing about these missiles is they're really good against fangs, and they might be able to snipe the tower, so I like that. And then, I mean, I have a missile available. I could get rid of some stuff, but I think I'm just going to save the money here. It doesn't seem too important. Maybe, like, another missile, like, I don't know, like here, in case something gets close to my tower anyway. So, at the very least, we've managed to, like, dodge part of the EMP. If I could have saved some money, maybe I don't need temp speed. I don't know. Hard to say. But look at that. Oh, I mean, that's already, like, so much better, right? I think the Raidens here are still good, but look at that damage. Just able to lock on, get the tower. Okay, well, at the very least here, we've managed to survive, right? Even if somehow the marksman here managed to take down my abysses, which is not certain at all. We, no, okay, actually just looks like we straight up win, right? Yeah, no, that is a definite win right there. Yep. Yeah, there you go. Just go Abyss. I think going Raiden here was completely fine. Raiden Ionize EMP did well early on, but at some point I just have to realize I need to just finish these factories off, man. Like, the Raidens don't have the damage. I nerfed them. They do big chunks at the start. They've got the EMP to deal with the spawn things and stop the spawning, but we need a finisher. And so Abyss is just great. If you see a factory, don't be afraid to buy this Titan. It does so well into it. You can see the damage. And yeah, I mean, it's just like, yeah, it's crushing. That's what it's doing here. So that was the solution. Anyway, if you like these videos, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you think of Spawn Factory. Have you played it before? Have you been around for long enough to know what it was like when it got introduced? Put it down there. If you want to stay up to date on my latest content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care, guys, and see you next video. Bye-bye.